Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I had a whole host of people send me the story because it happened in Michigan. So, St. Joseph County Sheriff charged in alleged drunk driving crash. Now, the case hasn't resolved itself completely just yet, so it hasn't gone to trial or anything like that. But we do have stories that they got from witnesses that pop up in police reports and widely reported in Michigan. So the story here is from Samantha May and Allie Jenner-John from WWMT. The story's out of Schoolcraft, Michigan. There's a Schoolcraft County and a town called Schoolcraft. This is near the town. Charges against a West Michigan sheriff were filed Thursday, over a month after an alleged drunk driving crash in Schoolcraft. The St. Joseph County sheriff, who is 47 years old, was behind the wheel when he crashed into the back of another vehicle on US 131, according to a Michigan State Police report obtained through a FOIA request. I mentioned FOIA recently in another video. And here's the interesting part. It was a Michigan State Police report. We often hear stories about people in authority who get pulled over by somebody who knows them or someone local. They go, oh, and they often get different treatment. I can tell you right now that in Michigan, my understanding is that when you get pulled over the Michigan State Police, that is much less likely to happen because this man does not appear, at least not yet, to have gotten any special treatment out of this. The quote from the police report is that he said to the police officers, "I'm just going to tell you, I'm not sure what happened, and it is what it is. I'm just going to tell you, I'm not sure what happened, and it is what it is." But he crashed his vehicle into the back of another vehicle on US 131, and that is a freeway. The sheriff had bloodshot eyes, was slurring his speech, staggered while walking, and denied that he was the driver of the vehicle, according to the police report. And the quote is, "No, I wasn't driving. No, I wasn't driving." When troopers asked him who was driving, he responded with, and this is a quote again, "I have no idea, to be honest with you. Bad, bad, bad. But no, I don't." I don't know what he's trying to say there with bad, bad, bad. I know people who speak their animals that way. But here's the interesting thing. We expect people in positions of power to recognize that people look to them and say, how does that person behave? And as a result of that, they should understand that they should try to set an example. And so when police officers walk up to my car, which has happened once or twice in my life, and ask me a question, I will either, for instance, do you know why I pulled you over? I will give them the vague response, no, I don't. Or I'll be honest with them, such as, do you have your driver's license on you? Yes, here I do. Yes, I do. Okay? So when trooper walks up and he says, "I wasn't driving," and they asked him who was, he said, "I have no idea, to be honest with you. Bad, bad, bad. But no, I don't." By the way, the vehicle involved in the crash that ran into the back of the truck on US 131 was a vehicle issued to the sheriff. So following his version of events right there, someone else was driving his vehicle, but he was in it, and he doesn't know who they are. So let's assume for a moment we're going to say, okay, dude, we'll accept that. Fine. Let's follow that logic for a minute. You let a stranger drive the car issued to you by the county, and then what, they ran away after the accident? Or was their body flung from the accident? Should we be looking through the ditch right now, looking for somebody who's injured? I mean, this is just absurd. 3 witnesses said the sheriff was the sole occupant of the vehicle. So there's another problem. People saw the crash. People ran up to his car to see if he was okay. And he tried telling the troopers who showed up to investigate, "I wasn't driving." One witness told police they checked on the sheriff and found him in the back seat of the car, according to the report. The witness told police the sheriff then climbed back into the front seat, repeatedly said, "I know I'm in trouble." Now, at least he's being truthful there. I know I'm in trouble. During a search of that vehicle, which again was a county-issued vehicle, police found a couple of pistols, a rifle, ammunition, etc. And you might say, Steve, but he's allowed to have those things. Oh, of course he is, but not if he's intoxicated. So that's another problem. He was arrested at that time for driving while intoxicated and possessing a firearm while drunk. Now, most recently, the Kalamazoo County Prosecuting Office authorized 2 charges against him, which right now are both misdemeanors: operating while intoxicated, or as us in the business called OWI, and carrying a concealed weapon while under the influence of alcohol. Under Michigan law, both charges are punishable by up to 93 days in jail, according to the prosecutor's office. And there are, of course, other things that go along with that. If, in fact, you were to get convicted of those things or found guilty, there are fines, your license can be suspended, and so on. The prosecutor said, being a police officer or an elected official isn't an excuse for committing crimes. It's not a defense to committing crimes, and when someone is in that position and violates the law, they need to expect to be held accountable. These charges and a potential conviction would not, however, disqualify the sheriff from his elected position. That would be up to the voters of St. Joseph County. And by the way, just so you caught this, the prosecution is in Kalamazoo County, and he's the sheriff in St. Joseph County. So if this goes to trial, it'll not be going to trial in his own county where he is sheriff. This, I think, fairly does call into question whether he should or should not be the sheriff moving forward. I think it's also fair to look at what has he done in response to this when you're making that decision, the prosecutor said. Meanwhile, the prosecutor did not comment on any events or circumstances that led up to the man getting behind the wheel of the car. The sheriff obviously appeared to be intoxicated because there's body cam footage of this entire post-crash event. And so one person said that the sheriff was obviously intoxicated. At least that's according to a witness whose voice was picked up on body cam. He couldn't even stand up and talk. Obviously, it appears he was intoxicated. That's one witness talking to a police officer. The sheriff would not consent to a field sobriety test or preliminary breath test. Later, his blood was drawn at a local hospital, according to the police report, although we do not know what that registered as. And he, I believe, has already been arraigned on this. So we'll see what happens. But there are some famous cases of sheriffs and other police officers getting pulled over when they're out just living their lives, not on duty. And there's another really embarrassing one that happened in northern Michigan, the upper half of the lower peninsula of Michigan, where a police officer gets pulled over by another police officer. And you can find that one on YouTube. It's been on a million different channels. And the guy, it's the middle of the day. The guy's clearly drunk, and he's just whining about how he should get some professional courtesy here. And the police officer pulled him over. Is like, no, that's not how we do it up here. I don't know how you do it where you are, but that's not how we do it up here. And so it doesn't surprise me that when the Michigan State Police are involved in this, they're pure business. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's shameful that if you're the sheriff and you are out imbibing, as they say, and then you decide to get behind the wheel of your car, if this happens, it sounds, according to these witnesses, it sounds like the man may have been very intoxicated. And so I'd be curious to know what those blood alcohol levels read. We might find that out. But it's a crying shame. But as they point out, the sheriff is an elected position. So it's up to the voters next time around whether or not they want to re-elect him. But I am just disturbed by the fact that a police officer walks up to another police officer and asks him a simple question such as, who was driving this car? And for him to say, I don't know. Just to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know. Now, of course, he wouldn't have sounded that good because I'm sober. But some of us have experienced the thing at the roadside. I'm thinking back many, many years ago when I was younger. And I remember having a police officer lecture me about something. And when I see a story like this, I ask myself, I wonder if this guy who's a sheriff probably has a career in law enforcement. He's 47 years old. Don't know how long he's been a law enforcement officer, but I suspect it's been a couple years. How many people has he lectured at the roadside? And how many of them have seen this story? And how many of them are wondering right about now how fun it would be to lecture him? So you're trying to tell us that you don't know who was driving the county-issued car that got wrecked in that accident? You don't know who that was. You got in the car with a stranger? Did you toss somebody else your keys? Was someone else stealing your car and you climbed into it and just happened to be there? Like, what? This doesn't make any sense. So we'll see what happens. But again, the headline, St. Joseph County Sheriff charged in alleged drunk driving crash. And some people are going to ask me about this because they're going to catch this. There is the district judge, Joseph Middleton, who has a YouTube channel where he often puts up videos of things that happen in his courtroom during Zoom trials. Fascinating channel, lots of great content on that channel. And he is a judge in St. Joseph County. So he's a judge in the county where this sheriff is the sheriff. But as noted, he got arrested in Kalamazoo County. So he will not be popping up in District Judge Joseph Middleton's courtroom because that would have been the full trifecta of just everything we'd like to see for something to be YouTube ready. But there you go, by Samantha May and Allie Jenner. John, a lot of people sent this to me from WWMT. St. Joseph County Sheriff charged in alleged drunk driving crash, but he has no idea who was driving his car when it ran at the back of a truck. And it's bad, bad, bad. Bad, bad, bad. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path.